Hey guys, it's Tara with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot, and I am excited to be hanging out with you guys this Sunday. If you don't know who I am, like I said, I'm Tara with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot. You can learn a little bit more about me by checking out the information box down below, checking out my website, kittensweightsandtarot.com. um, Maybe checking out my Witchy website, Desert Cauldron, over on Etsy. Lots of good stuff. And by the way, the newsletter for September comes out tomorrow. So I don't play the spam game. I only set out a newsletter like once every month. So if you are interested in my Witchy newsletter, just head over to my website. You can sign up there, or there's a link to sign up for that newsletter down below. So I have different things in there. Like I usually either might have a recipe for something, for a little bit of baking, might have a little DIY crafty stuff. Especially I try to make stuff, things like that we can make, but also stuff that you can make with your kids as well. There's also just like faves and things like that. So like like YouTube channels that I'm watching for that week, or books that I'm using, or crystals I'm using, or herbs. And, so it's lots of stuff. Definitely check it out. But there's a lot of Patreon stuff coming out tomorrow as well. So definitely check it out. But I am so excited to be hanging out with you guys today. As you can see, I'm at a different location, and we're just like chilling in one of my nephew's rooms because I have a few nephews. So the oldest, I am in his bedroom for now. As you know, I headed down for an occasion with their family. So I'm just been hanging out with them since Thursday. I drove down to kind of the Phoenix area, and I'll be heading back home tomorrow. But it's been kind of cool, just hanging in in my nephew's room. So he's been kind of coming in for his stuff. He's like, "Hi, Auntie." But anyway, let's see. Lilith says, "What are you taking off? It's getting steamy in here." No, we were just we were just playing before the live chat started, so no worries. Kayla saying, "How am I doing?" I'm doing okay. Well, the funeral was yesterday, and actually I was telling my boyfriend that well, I guess unfortunately in my lifetime, I've gone to quite a many funerals. And of all the funerals that I've gone to, I think that that was as beautiful and as well done as a funeral could be. I think it was so, even though there was a lot of what I might consider strangers, or everybody was like, thought they were strangers of each other, not everybody knew who everybody was that was there. I mean, my nephew knew, which is why they were there. They were there to celebrate his life. But it felt like unity, and it felt like a lot of love. Like everybody was just pouring out their hearts, and there were so many stories that were told, um, because there was we had like a viewing, and then the minister, who actually also knew my nephew, and he was crying too. Like everybody was crying, because I mean, it was happy, but it was sad. It was happy in the fact that we had all come together, and we were there for my nephew. And so the minister did a little like opening prayer, and then people got to line up and basically share their stories, and almost like an Irish wake, where we're just like celebrating the life of that person, talking about wonderful memories. And it was like everybody that was up there was a professional orator. I was like, it was almost like they had rehearsed it, but they didn't. That they were just speaking from their heart, and they were just speaking. Just it was so touching, and just the ways, and in my nephew's very short life that he had, that he could touch all of these lives and all of these people. And I knew that, as his godmother, I should probably go up there and talk. And I was like trying to like get over myself because I was like thinking, well, my voice is going to be all like crying and my voice is going to be all shaky. And then I was thinking, you know what? It's not about you, girlfriend. It's about your nephew, who you love. And he would be over the moon if you would say something nice about him. So I'm like, okay. So that's what I tried to focus on. And all these people, like there were people from like his manager, all of his coworkers, and not just the coworkers that he like worked shifts with. It's the coworkers that he just kind of like knew in passing that were like really touched by him, and they all had wonderful things to say. There were people who worked at the bank that knew him, and they were just they really wanted to come out and say. There was people from basically everywhere he's ever been, and everywhere he's ever lived. You know, people had come from everywhere. Like they flew in from so many different states because they wanted to be there for him. They wanted to be able to say goodbye. And it was like that was something that I don't remember everything I said because I was like kind of a mess. But um, what I do remember saying in like my little speech was just that um, you can tell the impact of a person when they're not there. You know, it's not about like, you know, when you're there and all your friends around you, and it's about when you're not there. And so, like, I just saw like a room full of like it was literally standing room only, and we had a lot of benches and a lot of chairs, and it was like as packed as that funeral home could be. And it was beautiful. And I thought that his brothers did a wonderful job speaking his mother and father. It was like I thought that they were gonna be like losing it, but it was like something inside them. It was like they tapped into some sort of like well of strength, and they were beautifully, you know, said some things about how their son helped them. And my friend, she was like saying that at first that she was like really angry with God, and she was saying that, you know, she thought that, you know, why would a God, you know, take away somebody who had such a light, you know, was literally made friends wherever he went. Like he had the biggest grin. He just had this like aura about him. He was happy. He wasn't a pushover. He was like he was happy. He wanted to help people. He also knew his boundaries. He loved standing up for people. He would stand up for his family and his friends in a heartbeat. But at the same time, he wasn't trying to pick a fight with anyone. You know, he in fact it was the other opposite. You know, he always tried to figure out how to like, you know, neutralize situations. Like let's bring it down a notch. Let's, you know, let's listen to what both parties are trying to say. Like he was just so good, and he was so mature. He was like definitely an old soul. um, and yeah, so all these people had showed up. We all got to speak, and then afterwards we decided to go to his place of business because here's the thing. So where he worked at Dutch Bros, and they had shut down that location for the length of his service. So basically all the coworkers and the manager and everything were at the service, and then when they left, they reopened Dutch Bros. And it was Saturday. It was yesterday, so it's like their busiest time. But they felt like out of respect, they would do that for him. They've also been doing a GoFundMe, and they're still actually receiving money for that. And then they're going to be sending it to, you know, my friends and my, you know, the family. And it's been, you know, just the outpouring of support and flowers and cards from everywhere, and people just trying to um, donate to help alleviate the expenses. Because I mean, I myself have not paid for a funeral before. I was not aware. I mean, I was aware that they're expensive, but it's a lot. So I'm glad that they're getting some help with that. And yeah, so then afterwards which was kind of nice, is we all, like, after we went to Dutch Bros and everything, and by the way, we did order drinks over there, but it was just to be able to see everybody that I literally just saw at the funeral. They're coming to like take your order, and you just see them in a different light. Like, that's my nephew's friends, and all the things they said. It was just beautiful. And so I just said, hey, whatever you pick, kid, like whatever's like on the menu, and wonderful. And they were like, well, we just got our pumpkin stuff in. So if you want, they said, we make a really nice pumpkin drink. And I was like, cool. Because here in Phoenix, it's over 100 degrees right now. This is a vast difference from the mountains that I live in. So I'm like, dude, give me an iced blended drink. Like, and then we came back to the house, came back to my friend's house. And by the way, there's like 20 or 30 family members that are staying between my friend's house, and my friend's sister lives across the street. So we're staying like between the two houses. And that's also why I'm sleeping in my other nephew's room. So there's all these people here, and it was just so nice. Everybody was just laughing and talking last night. And as I'm like overhearing conversations, just talking about funny memories, sharing pictures that people have on their phones of like when my nephew was really little, and stuff he did when he was older, and when he won a bunch of art contests, because he was a really good artist, but he was also a singer. He loved to be in the choir, and all those things just make his auntie so proud. So it was like, um, it was there was no sadness, really. It was nice last night where we all just got to hang out. We got to put our a lot more our relaxed attire on after the funeral, and just hang out, drink our little Dutch Bros drinks, and just watch funny movies, chit chat, tell funny stories about my nephew. And just it was lovely. And this morning we all went to breakfast over at IHOP, and I haven't been to IHOP since I was 17. And yeah, so I think a few family members are leaving now, but a few more will leave tomorrow, and some will leave in a week. I'll be leaving tomorrow, but I think that it was done up really well. I think because I did feel his presence here like the whole time, and I feel like he's really happy, with how it all went, and he liked everybody being able to share like fun stories and jokes and just be able to laugh, because that was his MO, you know? Um, let's see. Let's go back here. Um, Lila says, hope you're okay. I'm doing okay. And I'm doing okay. I mean, I have bouts where I'm like crying because it's like the physical person isn't here before, but then I also am filled with so much joy that I have like all these memories of this person. So I'm not, I don't, it's been an emotional roller coaster. I'm not gonna lie. um, Time Harvest says, here I am, as never missing. Are you bored to see me every day already? Nah. Well, not every day, every week. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Lilith says, sounds like it was a delightful way to remember your nephew's impact in this too short of his existence. Exactly. And something else that I had said was that, you know, the whole point of, being your fully authentic self, because literally my nephew was just him, and if anybody had a problem with it, like, that's on them, and that's how he saw it. He was like, why would I change the way I talk, or change the way I speak, change the way I dress, change my likes, my hobbies to suit somebody else? He's like, that's their life, that's their choices. He goes, I won't change who I am to be somebody else. And he didn't necessarily have to like say that in so many words. He just lived that. And that's something that I mentioned, that now that I'm kind of like remembering. It's a little foggy, you guys. I haven't got much sleep, sorry. But yeah, it it was that, here we have a young person who didn't change who they were for anyone. He didn't change for his brothers. He didn't change for his parents. He didn't change for the world. He didn't change for some schmo on the street or some weirdo on the internet. He didn't change for anybody. And I think, and actually, I believe that that's why so many people were drawn to him. Like, his light was so bright, and that light was that he was his full authentic self, and he was showing people, he was trying to lead people, like, this is how to be, and people loved that. They wanted a piece of that. They wanted to, like, show me that. And so I said, and here we have, I said, this room full of adults and kids too, teenagers. And I said, and we could all learn from that. And I said, and even though his physical body is no longer here to lead us in that way, I said, we all now have a piece of him living within us, and we take that moving forward. And I think that that's how we truly honor him, or honor anybody really, is to take their light, their example, and we see how we can incorporate that into our own lives, and then we live our life. We become our authentic self, and we shine that light through that example. And that's how we ultimately, here on earth, we live forever, um, while also keeping in mind that, yes, the soul is eternal and the soul lives forever, but keeping a person's memory alive, and keeping, the good energy and the lessons that, they taught here on earth, it lives within the people, who are here, left behind. So, um, yeah, I it was nice to see that. And another thing, as people were leaving, and they were, shaking hands and hugging, and sending their condolences, and I'm sorry for your loss. And there were a couple people, they shook my hand, and they said, so you're Auntie Tara, they said, because he talks about you all the time. And I was like, I was taken aback. I I wasn't expecting any of that at all. I was just like, like, wow, and even my friends, his mother and father, they were like, yeah, they said, he would talk about certain friends, and it wasn't until they went up to go speak and they said their name that they were finally putting faces to names, all the wonderful stories that he would come home and tell about this friend and that friend, and this friend who, he was so proud when they, worked through a certain thing, and he loved to see people grow and, evolve and basically become who they truly are. They were like, we finally get to put these faces to names, and names to faces. And my friend, she was like, she says, I know that when you look around, you might think that this is a room full of strangers, but it's not. She goes, in this family, we're all family. So she says, you guys are all family now. And she says that when you're in this family, you're stuck. It's for life. So it was really nice. Yeah. Let's see. Lilith says, I hope you don't mind me asking, do you know who, if he fulfilled his life's mission? He did. And that's something that I shared, without going into like a whole lot of detail, in respect for my friends and their family. But I, I tapped in because obviously he was here for just a very short time. And his response was that he had had so many lifetimes here on earth, and he knew that this would be his final earthly existence. And what he wanted was to have a full youthful life. He didn't want to have like the full, because he had already had long earthly lives. This was supposed to be the life where he gets to just have as much fun as possible. And boy, did that show. Just the singing and the art and the writing and the helping people out and just being freaking intuitive is all get out, and helping, just wise beyond his years. Like, wow. And it was, yeah, he says, I he said that he had pre-incarnation. He knew who his mother and father were going to be, that they were soul family, and he thought, what better way to basically have it be my last hurrah on earth than to be amongst my soul family, which he says his brothers, his mom and dad, me, we're all soul family. So he'll be waiting on the other side, he said, but he didn't plan on having a long existence here. He says, of course, his human self, his conscious self, it didn't know that, but his spirit did, and his spirit just wanted to have as much fun and try to help as many people as possible before he left. So yeah, um, I was like, wow. um, and oh, by the way, his manager, when she came over, and she's offering her condolences, and she said, so, and she was also like, so your auntie Tara, she said, did you know, she goes, he would bring these tarot cards to work, and he would give people readings, and he would do it so fast. And I was like, how do you know these meanings? And he says, I don't, but I also just do. And she says, and he would just help people, and he would just be so insightful. He'd look directly into our lives and just be like, hey, this is how you can lift yourself up. This is how you can empower yourself. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of him. And I was like, I'm the one that gave him that deck of cards. And I said, he knew that I read tarot cards, but he didn't have any. So since I knew that he loved anime, I actually bought him an anime tarot. He was like, oh my gosh, this art is so sick. And he was like, I want to draw this. So he was like actually like drawing like some of the cards that I gave him. And he said that he was trying to study like the meaning of the tarot cards, of like the RWS system. But at some point he was like, I feel like I've used these before, if that makes sense. It goes, Anna, I feel like I don't need to learn them. I feel like I already know them. And according to his manager, he did. And I'm like thinking, now it all makes sense. If he's been here lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, he probably learned some things along the way. um, yeah. um, okay, let's see. Go back here. Whoops. Um, Kayla said, sounds like it was a beautiful day. Thank you for sharing it with us. Well, thank you guys for um, allowing me to chit chat a little bit about it. Halila says, I have been wondering since last week, but I understand it's a little too raw. Perhaps I don't want to be insensitive. No, I understand. We all get curious. By the way, there just so many family members were asking me questions because it was weird. Everybody was like, family members that I didn't know, they were coming. They're like, oh my gosh, are you the medium? Hey, they're like, we wanted to know about, not like specifically about certain spirits, but they just wanted to know like what is it like when you tap into your intuitive ability. And I was trying to explain to people. I said, I don't consider myself special. I think that because we all have soul, that the physical body, it intuits its world with its five senses because it lives in the 3D world. It lives in this physical environment. So it needs its sense of smell, it needs its sense of taste, its eyesight, its hearing, its touch, all of that. But the soul doesn't necessarily need those things. So it uses what we would call the sixth sense, or its intuition. It's all energy. So it feels things out with its little energy feelers. It feels into other people's energy. It feels into other timelines, other dimensions. And that's how our soul intuits the world. And so I was trying to tell everybody that, there might be people like myself that they lean into that. They lean into their intuition, and they try to trust that intuition. The more you trust something, the stronger it gets, just like, building a muscle. And that everybody can do it. It may not be everybody's mission in their life to have that as a part of their life, to like actually tap into their intuition. But for some, it may be. And so they lean into it, and it can grow stronger. And so I said, it's not impossible for somebody to say like, well, I want to strengthen my intuitive abilities, but they might say I wasn't born with it. And I would say, that's hogwash. You're a soul, aren't you? So you have energy, you have intuition. It's there if you want to, strengthen it. And so it seemed like it was quelling a lot of fears, because some people were like, "Oh, we get like freaked out by mediums and stuff because it's like they have these weird superpowers." And I'm like, "Dude, we're not X-Men." I was like, "It's not a superpower." I said, "It's like anything else. It's just something that you've strengthened over time." And I was like, and so I was trying to tell people how to do that themselves if they were interested. I said, next time you get a gut feeling about something, lean into that feeling instead of trying to explain it away and be like, well, that's probably da 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 da. I said, because the more you do that, you're telling yourself, I want to strengthen the logic and the explain it away more than I want to strengthen that gut feeling. I said, but just, I said, it doesn't have to be a big old thing. Just lean into that gut feeling. If your gut's telling you, don't eat that. Don't eat that. It can be something as simple as that. Or your gut says, I think I want to go to the beach today. Then go to the beach today. And that's how we lean into that energetic sense, that intuitive sense. That's when we're letting the soul take the wheel. But yeah. Let's see. Let me go back here. Do do do. Um Time Harvest says, you should channel him today and see what he would have to say to us. Maybe he got beautiful messages to share. He has shared a lot of beautiful messages with the immediate family. I don't think I'm ready to channel him on the internet. um, but in time, I'm still, I'm still healing a little bit. Um, Lilith says, I have no doubt he would. Um, and then Roger Overs here says, hello, hello. Are we channeling the Andromedans today? Actually, we're going to be channeling the Andromedans next Sunday. This Sunday, there's just so much that has been going on that I just kind of wanted to have a chill chit chat with everybody. But definitely, Roger Over, I have not forgotten. I do want to do the Andromedans. It'll just be next Sunday. Let's see. Lilith says, you are cool beans and awesome sauce, Auntie Tara. um, Time Harvest says, why haven't you slept today? Said, oh, just because of all with my nephew passing away, everything, and just, coming down here and helping, and just, with all the funeral stuff, it's just been really hard to sleep. But I'm sure that once I get back home, I'll probably, I'll probably like sleep for a week. Hey, our buddy John is here. Hey, John. Time of Harvest says, I'm so lonely. Well, hope you're not lonely here. You're amongst friends. Lila said, that's beautiful. It's so nice to hear he had a blast being youthful and living his best life. Oh, he sure did. And Time Harvest said, he was a cool guy. The more you tell about him, the cooler he becomes to me. Dude, that is something that I tried to express at the funeral, but I don't know how well I did. Probably all that people heard was, that's probably all they heard from me. But the 4 boys that my friends have raised, and the son that my friend's sister has raised, which is their cousin who lives literally right across the street, they range in ages from 14 to 23. My nephew was 23. So now the oldest is like 21. They're the most respectful, insightful, mature at times, and sweet, literally sweetest boys you've ever met. Any mother would be honored to have those as their sons, because they never talk back, but they also have boundaries. They also, it's like when they feel like something's unfair that their parents have said, they don't scream and stomp. They talk it out, like, and I think they got a lot of that from the oldest, the older brother, because he was just so mature about things. It's like, hey, if you have a problem, screaming and yelling at somebody and stomping your feet is not the way to get another person to hear you. You know, you got to come to them and say, "Hey, I feel like this is unfair because," and then you allow them to respond and then you work it out, you know. But if people are screaming at each other, that's not the way we do things. And so that's the way these boys operate, you know, that they're teenagers and they're like, you know, and although they may bicker amongst each other at times, if they truly feel like they're being disrespected or their boundaries are crossed, they will let anybody know, whether it's their parents or a stranger on the street. They say, and they're not mean about it. It's just like, hey, that's not okay, and here's why. And I won't allow you to do that. And I'm just like, man. I wish. Well, I wish I was that way. Well, I mean, I try to be that way now, but I mean, I wish I was that way when I was their age. I'm like, holy cow, what person would I have turned into? You know, I would have been way ahead. But yeah, they are fantastic children. Silver Star Priestess is here. Oh my gosh, sis, how are you? She says, love you, Chicky, lurking at the moment. Big hugs to you and just listening to your beautiful stories about your godson. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you so much for sending all the healing that you have for the family and all of you guys. Actually, I know that a lot of you guys have been just like sending good vibes. Some of you have been sending Reiki, your well wishes. I appreciate it. And I know that on an energetic level, they can feel it as well. Um, Kayla saying hello to Silver Star. John saying hi. Lilith saying hi. Silver Star says, missed you all, hugs. Time Harvest says, yeah, that's what it seems like. He got out intuitive abilities, but in a very subtle way. He was very young. I'm 26, and it shows us how short life actually is. We got to enjoy it every day and change our frequency to a more vibrant and positive one, like the Andromedan said. Exactly. Roger Over says, did he like playing games, your nephew? Dude, this whole family is a gamer family. In fact, that's why I had to close the bedroom doors because the boys are getting loud right now. They are in the loft and they're playing video games. Like, like mom, dad, kids, sister across the street, nephew, the husband, like all gamers. So yeah, he loved playing games. He loved anime. Oh, something that was okay. So I'll share some because I like sharing happy stories about him. So before my second nephew was born, so you know my the one who passed away, that was my best friend's. That was their first child. So he was about 2 years old um, before his brother was born, and my friend was like, he would like pick up the rug and he'd be like, day day, day day, and he was always looking for this day day, and they'd be like, what are you talking about? There's no day day. And he's like, yes, I'm looking for day day. And so he'd like be in the closet, day day, lifting up the rug again, day day. um, and it was a few months later, his mother found out she was pregnant. And later, when she had that baby, and my nephew saw him for the very first time, he went, oh, that's Day Day. He's here. It's like, and they've been joined at the hip ever since. So yes, I mean it's been hard on all the brothers, but especially that one because they literally like they shared a room their whole life, and it's only been in the past year or two they finally got their separate rooms, but they still wanted to be together. They still literally slept in each other's like room. um and when uh the day actually the day that he passed, they were sharing the stories that well actually no, this is the day that the it was a medical incident had happened that led to him passing away a few days later. But they said that they went into his room after he passed, and the last thing that he drew, he has like a whiteboard in his room, and he drew himself, and he left a message for the family that said, "It's okay to cry." Um, and he had no way of knowing, well, on a conscious level, he had no way of knowing that he what was going to happen later that day. Um, and so he had made a point to have like some really deep conversations with every family member one on one. And then there was the incident that happened. But they said that they're so grateful that they're like, we don't know what level he was operating on, but they said that it's like he gave us the closure that he knew we were going to need, so that we didn't have that. I wish I had one more day, even though, yes, they wish they had just one more day, one more day. They said, but it was like we got to have that time with him. We got to have like basically his full on personality, share a joke, a story, got to have his favorite food with him. He got to, he left that message on that whiteboard in his room. And it seemed like everything he was doing was him knowing that he was going to pass, which was interesting. Um, so let's see. Silver Star says, "You're so welcome." Roger Over says, "I play them games all day. Probably could have been good friends." Probably. And they play online, and oh gosh, I can't keep up with all the games that they play. Um, Gosh, I can't even think of all the games. I mean, they were talking about one of them today. Um, I should look that up, and maybe I'll maybe during the next live chat, for those of you that are gamers, I'll I'll list the games they do play. Maybe you'll see them online sometime. um, let's see. Lila says the youngsters are quite something. Seem much more aware than the older generations. Tell me about it. I'm like, oh my gosh. It's like, these kids, for in some respects, they're just way more mature than a lot of the adults here. Like, holy cow. um Time Harvest says, I love games too. Ayo. Do I play games? I haven't actually tried any of the current games, so I wouldn't even know if I like them. I probably would. I mean, I'm not opposed to playing video games. The last time I played a video game was like 20 years ago, and it was Grand Theft Auto Vice City. I really liked it, but it was my ex-boyfriend's game. And so, but when I moved, I didn't have it, so I just didn't play it again. But it's not because I didn't want to; it's just I didn't have it. And then I kind of grew up a little poor, so I didn't have like all the like Sega Genesis and PlayStation. I had Nintendo and the same like whatever 1989 Nintendo games. It was like Ninja Turtles, Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, ice hockey. um, and then let's see, what else did we have in the house? We had Atari. So yeah, I played Atari, I played Nintendo, and I would play at the arcades. I loved playing Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, and I loved like some of the like car racing stuff. But yeah, I mean, I like video games. I don't have a console, and I know you don't need a console anymore. You probably could just play online. But yeah, I mean, I would probably try. I mean, I'd probably suck really bad and everybody would probably have fun beating me, but I'm pretty sure it'd be a lot of fun. Let's see. Roger says they probably just play Minecraft or Fortnite. Ask them right now. They're in the no, they trust me. These kids are like advanced. They're way beyond Minecraft and Fortnite. Not that anything's wrong with Minecraft, because I've seen how detailed Minecraft can be, and I'm like, whoa. That people who build entire cities, like, wow. That's pretty cool. um I know that at some point they were playing Halo. I do remember that. I don't know if they play it anymore. um they said that there's a new game that literally just is, or it's about to drop next week. I think it starts with an H, but I don't remember the name. They were saying something about it in the car, but my brain has been in such a fog that like I can't retain information right now. But yeah, I will. Yeah, during the next live chat, I'll probably have a whole list of the games that they play. It's just that uh yeah, I don't want to disturb them in their games over there. Um, Time Harvest is 20 years ago. Ooh, no, that's a while ago, man. We now have Grand Theft Auto 6 coming, and it's almost like real life in the graphics. Are you serious? Grand Theft Auto 6? Dude, I'm getting old. Roger's like, I play games all day to kill time. What do you do to spend time? Um, I would say that I am the ultimate Gemini. Oh, hey, there's me. Hello, me. I swing on swings in the forest. I go talk to forest creatures. I'll go mess with my tarot cards. I'll I'm usually messing with my tarot cards. Sometimes in the house, sometimes in the forest. Sometimes I'm like making something like crafty. Sometimes I'm like playing with my herbs and like either making something or brewing something. I'm sometimes just making jewelry. I don't know. It's just kind of like how the mood strikes me. Sometimes I don't want to do anything except dance all day. So I'll just play music all day and I'll be like, I don't care who's watching. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. But yeah, I just, yeah, I don't know. I'm all over the board. I could be singing. I could be crafting. I could be brewing. I could be talking to animals. I could be slinging tarot cards. I could be picking up rocks and going on a forest hunt for cool rocks, smoking cigars. I could be doing that. um, Talking to spirits, talking to Sasquatch. I don't know. Going for drives. I like to do that. I like to draw, but you know what's weird? Okay, so over on my Instagram page, you'll see that I have my artwork on there, but you'll only see it in October. So you have to like scroll back to last October and the October before that and the October before that, because I love to do Inktober, which is a art not competition, but like arts. It's like a daily art thing that they do throughout October from the 1st to the 31st. They give you a prompt, but it's within the theme of like Halloween. So it could be like the prompt is spider, draw anything about spider, or the prompt is ghost or vampire or blood, or, and then you get to get creative on how you create it. And it's called Inktober because, you're supposed to be doing it in ink and preferably in black and white, but I don't really follow rules that well, so I do mine in color. But I have my Prismacolor markers, and I bust out my nice fountain pens to kind of like do up the art. But yeah, I actually really do love to draw. And when I was little, I thought I wanted to be a cartoonist. So I would draw every day. I wanted to like hone my skills. I would check out every like sketchbook in the public library, like how to do this or do that, like how to draw hands, how to draw profiles, how to draw hair, how to draw eyeballs. And I would just like sit there and I would practice and practice every day. I would draw like so many images every single day. And then I left for college and I wanted to be a fashion designer, not because like I'm super into fashion, but because I wanted to draw every day. But I quickly changed my mind when I found out that there was so much chemistry and math in becoming a fashion designer. I was like, that's cool. I'll just draw in my spare time. But yeah, so there's that. I don't know. I have a lot of hobbies. I guess it just depends on the time of year, what I feel like doing. This winter, I want to go snowboarding again. That'll be great. I haven't been snowboarding in a hot minute. Maybe one day, maybe go down to Mexico, catch some waves. I'll go like surfing again. That would be cool. I have rollerblades. I could go rollerblading. I don't know. I like being outdoors and just like doing stuff, but I also just like being a potato and staying at home and I don't know, drawing or sitting on the bed like I'm doing now and just being like, let's see. Riley says, I like to play head games. Yes, I know. I know you do. Time Harvest says he's cracking up. He says Tara plays in the playground all day. Hey, that's me basically. To kill time. Um, oh, Heather waving hi to Riley. Costolini says, hell yeah, look at those cowboy boots. Yep. Time Harvest says Riley's funny, bro. Damn, you're living life then. That's what I'm seeking in my life instead of all day in this computer. Um, yeah, I mean, and sometimes there are days that I just like being on the computer because I also love photography. I like messing with Photoshop. I like messing with Lightroom, and I love like tweaking photos. And sometimes I just want to tweak them just like to enhance the color a little bit, but sometimes want to get full on weird with it, you know? So like I want to like give myself like, I don't know, antlers, and I want to like, make it real, like really have fun with Photoshop. Yeah. So I don't know. I like computer stuff, but also like being outdoors. I'm all over the place. Like seriously. Um Lilith was saying art challenge. Thank you. I couldn't remember. I was like, it's an art. Like I said, my brain is a fog. My apologies. John says, oh, so I couldn't just glue spider legs to my eyelashes because it wouldn't be ink as a medium. You know what? Like I said, I don't follow the rules. They're like, I think they mean ink is like just in black and white, and I put mine in color because I don't care. But there have been people that they don't draw something; they actually create sculptures. So, like, there's some people that like they welded a sculpture, which that's pretty intense for like a 31-day art challenge. Like to do some sort of welding each day. Some people made things out of clay. Some people like chiseled stuff. Some people whittled stuff. I've seen some like 3D art where they got the canvas. They also have like the paint on it, but they also have like, I don't know, like there was a tire on. It was a really big canvas, but there was a tire on there. So yeah, you probably could glue some spider legs to your eyelashes. um, Time Harvest says, ever thought on going out to hunt? Uh, I would not hunt animals. I would hunt like for cool treasure. I would go on a treasure hunt. I would probably do that, but I would not hunt an animal. I would probably track an animal. In fact, I do like tracking animals, but not to harm them. More like because it's cool that I could track an animal. I think that's the only reason I do it. I'm like, cool, I'm tracking an animal right now. um, Time Harvest says movies cool too. There's so many movies out there. So many movies. It has been forever since I've been to a movie theater, but I do like watching movies online. And I'm not actually, last night we watched a couple of movies. Because like I said, it was a somber day yesterday. So we wanted to have some laughter. So we watched Major Pain, and one of the people there hadn't seen Major Pain. I was like, are you serious? I've seen Major Pain like 800 times. I freaking love that movie. It's hilarious. But then afterwards, somebody put on John Wick, and I was like, really? We're trying to lighten the mood. But I guess for some people it was hilarious. And then this morning, my buddy had on Full Metal Jacket. Um, I love Full Metal Jacket too. um, let's see. Um, Trivia was wondering about getting a reading. We could do super chats and super stickers. Actually, I've been like blah, 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 blah so much that I haven't done our weekly reading. So we should probably get on that. We could do a weekly reading, and then afterwards, yeah, some super chats, super stickers, and then maybe a channel guided meditation. And we'll call it a Sunday. Like I'm just trying to keep it like real low key today. Just like decompress. It's been an emotional couple of weeks. um, Silver Star was saying that I might do readings, but yeah, you know, I'll see how I feel, but I think I could do some super chats and super stickers. Trivia saying thank you. Time Harvest says, speaking of art, I wish I could see some alien art. They must do some cool 4D art. Dude, 4D beings making some 4D art. I bet that would be really sick. That's awesome. Silver Star says that I usually do donation super chats. I also have the information in the description box to look for private personal readings. Thank you, Silver Star. And yes, that is correct. Lil says, I could see you make wood. You would make wood sculptures. You know, I've whittled a couple of things in my life. And that is something that I thought would be cool to learn because there are a few people here who know how to like do like the chainsaw sculptures and like stumps of wood, like they make bears and stuff. And although I don't know if I would want to do like chainsaw sculptures, I think that like hammer and chisel, like or whatever you use for wood sculptures, I think that, that would be cool. I that's kind of something that since I was a little kid, like on and off, I've been like, that would be fun someday, you know? Time Harvest says, I also don't want to harm animals, but it's hard. I think we humans are kind of mean to eat their meat or something. Otherwise, we go weak and all that. Trust me, I tried the no meat diet. Well, you know, I have to. But what I've come to learn is that animals, plants, trees, rocks, everything has a consciousness. So at first, my thing was, you know, I didn't want to eat meat because at the time I was having this like it was like another awakening. You know how we go through like a awakening and then another awakening and then another awakening and another I was like coming into one of those like I'm having another awakening, and every time I ate meat I was feeling and seeing the entire life cycle of that animal, and I was feeling everything. And I was just like, whoa, I am so sorry. And so I just stopped eating meat. So it wasn't because I wanted to be all like sitting on my high horse or like, you know, because of anything else. It was just like I was tripping out when I was eating meat, and I didn't want to trip out. So I started eating like more vegetarian diet. And then at a certain point, I I started feeling the way I did with meat with plants. And I was like, well, I gotta eat something. And so for a while, you know, I still do it to some degree, you know, try to eat source energy, basically try to eat energy. But I don't feel that, you know, I'm not, I don't know, advanced enough or guru enough or whatever enough to be able to just live off of that alone. So I have gone back to just basically eating what I allow my intuition to guide me. Kind of like I was talking about before, where I'm like, just go by your gut instinct. So that's what I do. I just go by my gut instinct. And sometimes my gut's like, listen, all I want today is some chicken. And I'm like, okay, I have some chicken. Actually, I had chicken when I was over here. It was so good. And then some days I'm like, all I want is some spinach. I don't want anything else. I just want some spinach. So then I'll go have some spinach. You know? So I don't know. But I'm also trying to meditate on like, why did I choose that I just want to eat this today? Why, you know, what energetically is going on that I just decided I just want to drink water for a few days, or maybe I just decided like I'm all done with cheese. Like right now, I'm like, why? What's the energy behind cheese that, you know, I would decide I don't want it right now. So I don't know. It's like I think that would be like a whole live chat in itself, is like talking about food, like like what you guys think about it. I think that would be pretty cool. And although I've done a channeling on food specifically. I've done a channeling on source, like eating source. Um, I think that there's so much to learn because I really only connected to one entity. And think about it, there's probably an infinite number of entities out there with an infinite number of points of views and biases and enlightenment, so we can learn so much. But also we can learn a lot from ourselves, just asking ourselves, why do I want this or that? Sorry, the dogs are barking. You probably hear that. That would be the terrier, the Rottweiler, and the two guest dogs. Okay, let's see. um, Lilith says, "Are you channeling?" I I think you are, and like I said, I think we all channel all the time. We just don't know we're channeling. Like somebody was talking to last night. He was like, sometimes he says, I'm just sitting, and the more a person talks, the more it's like I know them, even though I don't. He says, I know that consciously, like, oh, I thought they were talking to me. Okay. I'm not involved. But yeah, so it's like, he's like, it's no, not like when you're like getting to know somebody, but no, like just by the person talking. And it's like you're feeling into their energy. And he's like, and then I would feel like, I don't know where this information is coming from, but I just need to tell this person something. And I said, well, that's a form of channeling. Or when somebody is like just on the guitar and they're just strumming and they're just like, whatever's coming to mind, that's a form of channeling. Um, hey, it's my baby. um, or when somebody's just, they're drawing a picture, but they don't, they're just kind of whatever shows up on the page. They're just, just drawing it. That's a form of channeling. When you're talking to somebody and you're really feeling into the conversation, you're really feeling into them, and you just feel like this is what I think this person needs to hear at this time. That's a form of channeling. So we channel literally all the time, but I don't think everybody would call it that. They would just be like, oh, I was just like a really good listener to my friend, or oh, I was just thinking this when I was drawing, or I was just kind of like singing whatever. But we're tapping into something that is giving us that inspiration to do that thing at that moment, or to say that thing at that moment, or that I'm feeling connected to this person at that moment, or even I think you think about your friend and then they call, like that's a form of channeling. It's all different forms, but it's still a form of channeling. So I find that fascinating. John said, time harvest, there's a lot of reasons a plant-based diet can fail, but it sounds like you might have been under eating. That's also very true. So in my many hats that I used to wear, I was a nutritionist and a personal trainer for a while. At least I got my personal training cert, my nutritionist cert, so that I could be a better track and field coach for my athletes back in the day, my high school athletes. And some of them had very specific diets. Like I had athletes that were vegetarians because of like religious reasons. Some of them had it because of medical conditions. They just like couldn't eat meat. And so I was devising a way for them to get all of their nutrients, all of their vitamins and minerals, and also have enough calories in their system so that they could do track and field. So I do know that anybody could be mineral vitamin deficient on really any diet. you know Somebody could be on a just they're like, oh well, I have my I just like eat meat, but maybe they could be deficient in some other things. Everybody's body is different, or it's like I just eat plants or whatever, but it could be a deficiency, or maybe just not eating enough. Sometimes that's it too. It's like some people might say, oh, like, oh, I had my bowl of salad, I'm good. But maybe your body needs more than just a bowl of salad. Maybe it needed like a bowl of salad. you know? So yeah, that could be. So yeah, thank you, John, for jumping in on that. And Timer Harvest, man, I don't know how I can, those hippie aliens out there could be vegetarian. It's so hard for us humans to do so. We really need meat so bad. Yeah, but you know what? They're on a whole different wavelengths too. So who knows what they probably eat, like alien plants. I don't know. Interesting. Um, And he says, I do raw meat too. I've been trying to cut it off, but it makes me feel so good. I hate it has to be this way, but should I hate myself when I'm the product of God Himself? No, I wouldn't say hate yourself. Your body is your body. There isn't one diet for all. I know that that seems counterintuitive when like these different countries they create this food pyramid, or in Ireland it's the food plate, or in some other countries it looks different, but all in all it's like you need this and you need this, you need to eat grains and you need to eat meat, and you should have this much sugar and you should have this much salt and you should have this much, blah 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 blah, desserts and breads or whatever. um but that's so general, and that doesn't work for everybody. And I think the whole like blanket, like we're just going to do this for everybody, it's not really working. Like the whole like this diet is for everyone, but that's not working. We're all different, we got different bodies, we got different, we're at different places frequency wise, which affects our physical body, so that's different. When we do like a blanket thing in education, which I was in education for quite a while, it's like that blanket thing was not working for all those students. They learn differently. It's hard to reach 43 students in 52 minutes. you know so yeah, it's I don't know, it's an individual thing. And um feeling any sort of hatred upon the self is the ego lashing out, and we just got to ask the ego, like, well, why? Like, why are you lashing out? I'm a pretty cool creation over here. So what's the dealio? And we could probably learn a lot from that. Um, Let's see. Lilith says it's going to take a while to transition our diet as a collective towards not needing food. So please be patient and careful experimenting. Very wise, Lilith. Yes. So, yeah, like I said, everybody's different. Everybody's at different places. And not to say that we should all be like at a certain place, because we all have different missions. We all have different reasons for being here. Some of us, our reason for being here is I just want to experience meat in this lifetime. Some people like, I want to experience just eating source in this lifetime. Or some are like, I'm just gonna like eat plants in this lifetime. Or some people are like, I'm just eating dirt in this lifetime. I don't know. So yeah, it's a very individual thing. And um eventually maybe humanity will rise to such a degree, and who knows, maybe it's in our lifetime or maybe not in our lifetime or on a different timeline, that we just like, oh, I'm just like absorbing energy and that fuels me, from outside of me. But for now I would say, hmm, I guess I can only really speak for my reality. So maybe I can't even say the majority, just me. Just me, possibly not ready, but trying, but trying. Silver Star says, I've come to the same conclusion. I just listen to my body and it tells you what it needs. There should be no shame there, just gratitude. I mean, you should try and eat healthy, but a little of what you want. Yes, of course. Um, John says, I eat a lot of volume of plants. You know, my favorite is spinach. Actually, that's what I did have spinach today. I love spinach. Not just because I watched Popeye eat spinach, but I don't know, something about, I loved eating spanakopita as a kid. I loved spinach soup. I loved just eating raw spinach. I love spinach in a salad. I love spinach in a stew. I will eat spinach with green eggs and ham. I really love spinach. I can eat me a lot. Silver Star says, everyone just do unique in what they need. Yes. It's so unique in what they need. Yes, yes, yes. And then John said, I needed more when I stopped being an omnivore. I agree. We're all in different places and have different needs. Exactly. And Lilith says, I'm just closing out a cycle that started 18 years ago where I had taken antibiotics, and I only found out recently that it caused a yeast overgrowth, which led to malnourishment. And I feel so much better. Oh my gosh. Yeah, wow, there's a lot of cycles being closed out right now. So yes, like the cycle of what was going on in your life, but also on an astrological level, according to the Tzolk'in calendar or Mayan astrology, this year is closing out a 13-year cycle. So think about all the things that happened in the past 13 years. This is like the culmination of all of that learning, all of those ups, all of those downs, all of those things that we've released, all of those things that have come into our lives. This is like the end of that cycle. Like it's a closing of a chapter. And we actually leave off with 13 ich this year. And 13 is like it's the highest number that they use in the calendar, so that's why it's a 13-year cycle. But they also have like 1,000-year cycles, 10,000-year cycles. Actually, back in when they're like 2012, they're like, "Oh my God, the world's going to end according to the Mayan calendar." It just meant the closing of a 1,000-year cycle. It was not the end of the world. Um, but yeah, so this is like a smaller like closing of the cycle. So, but kind of cool to reflect on the past 13 years, where you were, who you were, and ich means the hurricane. That's the translation. So it's like everything, as we close out this chapter is just whoosh, things are just like passing through, release, cleansing, purification. It could either be a year of actual massive wins, like physical wins, but it could also be the metaphorical sense, and both, it could be both as well. Um, but yeah, this is the cleanup year. Interesting. Let's see. Time Harvest says we all gonna become plants and live off the sun energy. Dirt, here I come. Well, as a kid, I used to eat dirt. I thought, well, I was very picky about the dirt I ate. I only ate sand from one particular playground and the sand near my front door. I found it particularly delicious. My mom was like, stop eating sand. What did I tell you? You're going to grind your teeth down to nothing. I'm like, I probably was lacking silica or something. That's probably why I was eating that. Lilith says, since I've been taking medication to solve the overgrowth that has taken place in the last couple of weeks, it has been quite the nutrition journey. Well, I am sending you lots and lots of love because I know that, especially when it comes to like, for some reason that's something that we seem to all struggle with as human beings. Like some people are like, I don't know what I should be eating, or like some people are trying to figure out like a food allergy that they have. Some people are, trying to adjust their like blood pressure, according to what they eat. It's such a it literally is a journey. It's a journey. So I understand. I'm sending you all the love in the world. Um, Time Harvest says, I love me my lettuce salad too. Ooh. And Silver Star says, I keep hearing that song. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world and I feel fine. um, Riley says you still eat dirt. Okay, well, you don't need to tell everybody, okay? um, Silver Star says her chocolate. Dirt chocolate. Willis says that cracked me up. I was particular about the dirt I would eat. I really was. um, Lilith says, thank you, my love. Oh, hey, Time Harvest says, feline Liren lives rent free in my head. Okay. Hey, we could tap into that. Oh, shoot. Okay. So, Time Harvest, thank you. Let's have you first for the super chat, super stickers. But let's do a quick reading, just, a little something, maybe not just for the upcoming week, but maybe because just like the weird mood that I'm in, like the energy level, I'm like, because just like everything that's been happening. How about a message, just a message that we could all use at this time? Let's do that. So I kind of have the intention for the upcoming week, but more like let's have a message that we could all use, and then we all need it this time, and then I'll get to Time Harvest and we'll do our super chats and super stickers. I think that'll work. Wait, hold on here. Let me just turn off the sound. Nope. Goodbye, sound. Goodbye. Hold on. I need to do a little refresher here. Uno momento. What are you doing? Spinning counterclockwise. Each turn robs the planet of angular momentum, slowing its spin the tiniest bit, lengthening the night, pushing back the dawn. What the heck? That's funny. Um, Giving me a little more time here with you. Oh, that's so sweet. Okay, so here we go. I kind of like just doing a live chat from the bed. I just get to, it's too hot to be in my pajamas right now or sweats. Um, but I still like the idea of being like comfy cozy on my bed. And if it were cooler, then I would have a cup of tea, but it is not that cool right now. Okay. So, all right. What do I want to use? Let's use my new skeleton tarot. Guys, check this out. This tarot is pretty badass. Badass. Okay, I want to use that one. And I want to use my Loteria Remedios. I did a review of this. That review comes out tomorrow, 8 a.m. Okay, so let's do that. What is a message that we could all use right now? Perhaps a little pick-me-up, a little light at the end of the tunnel, a little ha-ha, maybe. Let's see. And by the way, thank you to everybody who comes into these live chats. Thank you to everybody who hangs out with us. I'll probably like change the time again at some point, but you know, I want to try to give different time zones a chance to be a part of these live chats. So we had our like 8 a.m. and now we have our 2 p.m. Maybe I'll try noon, you know, another time, but we'll see. But thank you. Thank you to everybody who subscribed to the channel. You guys are almost at 11,000. Thank you to my mighty, mighty moderators who wield the wrench, not a wench, but a wrench of destiny. And yeah, thank you to my YouTube members. You know who you are, Kayla and Nancy and Jonathan Cleese and Jolene and Duality Tales. Sea Captain Costalini, thank you, thank you. And to all of my patrons, Lily and Dana and Jamie and Kayla, Sugna Baby, Brandy, Jason, Brian, Paulu, Crystal, Easy Does It, Joel, 1111, Casey Gritter, Ashley, and Oz. Thank you guys for all being patrons. Love you. Thank you guys for all the support. Okay, let's pull a card here. Riley says, I wield the wench. Okay, sir. Simon says, can you tell me about the relationship and my finances? Am I going to get rich quick? Well, we are doing super chats and super stickers after this like general message just for everybody. We're just kind of keeping things low key today. It's been a heck of a couple of weeks. We're just hanging out and having fun today. But yeah, I'm going to do a message for all of us, just a message that maybe we need to hear at this time. And then, yeah, super chat, super stickers, which would start off with our friend Time Harvest, of course. Time Harvest is like, we would all love to get rich quick. Yeah, that would be cool. Silver Star says, which wrench is which? I love it. That's so cool. Yes. Which wrench is which? That's a tongue twister. Okay. Mascusi. Okay, let's take a look at our cards here. We have Alacrahan, the scorpion. We have the magician. Ooh, pretty, pretty. Um, Time Harvest says maybe our richness is beyond this world. Just for being so aware as we are right now, it's already a form of richness. I agree. Like, just the fact that I have the life that I have and get to hang out with you, wonderful homies, my friends, those awesome godsons that I have. My boyfriend, like the forest that I live. To me, that's freaking rich, man. That's something. All right, we got the Eight of Pentacles. I think I've had a very blessed life. Even the experiences that at the time I was like, why is this happening to me? They've all showed me something, and I've grown from them. And, you know, I wouldn't have turned out any other way if if I didn't have those experiences. I think I've led a very rich life, and I still have a lot that awaits me. Um, yeah. Okay. Then we have the Three of Swords. Ha 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 ha. Um, okay. So let's see. Let's look at our message and hold on. Let me scroll through here. Sea Captain's here. Says, hi, Taryn, everyone. Coming in late, but happy to be here. We're happy to have you. um, and then John's like, oh. And then Lilith says, I've sent a donation through PayPal because I don't want YouTube to take a cut. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's awesome. All right. So we have our top friend, Time Harvest, and Lilith. And thank you. Thank you. And Time Harvest says eternal richness. Yes. Okay. So Alakran and our cards here. So the message that we most need to hear at this time. Okay, let me just put those down and feel into it. Okay. 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 It's actually a lot. Um, so the message coming through is think of yourself like the scorpion. And yes, there's been all these stories, about the scorpion, and think about the story of the scorpion trying to make it across the river, and how it couldn't help but be a scorpion, even though it knew that stinging the being that it was on would cause its own demise. But what's coming through is we don't have to be anything. You know, what we or who we think we are is actually a choice. We might not look at it that way. We might say, well, I grew up in this household, and I know that this is my personality, and this is my lot in life. And, so there's this and that. And they said, but that's a story you tell yourself, and a story that you perpetuate, and you could continue to be that. Yes. And if that makes you happy, then so be it. But if you decide, I'm not happy where I am at the moment, like let's say, actually, let's take our friend who said, I want to get rich quick. And then Time Harvest is like, we would all love to be rich. So think of that. Let's say that you're struggling with cash at the moment. And the message is not to say that cash is just going to fall from the sky. But think about what might be keeping you in that energy. So it's not so much having an affirmation, or saying, if I make a donation here, then I'm going to like have all the riches. It's not about that. It's about changing, like, inherently, the being that has created that environment. And it says, and that might be really difficult, especially, I'm saying I myself came from a very low income neighborhood. My family was low income. And so, to give an example, there was a period of time where I thought I was just destined to always be struggling, always be what I would say is poor. I can't have enough money. I'll never be like the people that live in La Jolla or the people that live in Rancho Santa Fe. Like that can never be me because of my family, because of my upbringing, that's just who I am. And so with that mindset, that I got more of that. But at a certain point, my how I saw myself, my personality didn't necessarily do a whole 180 change, but my attitude towards my self-respect, my self confidence, what I was able to learn and what I was able to do for myself changed. And so that doesn't seem like it would have much bearing on the cash flow that I was having, but because that part of my personality changed because I decided it was going to change, that all of a sudden now I was in a new energy. And so now I was open to more different opportunities and different experiences, which was now moving me out of that. And was it overnight? No, but it did take a little bit of time, but so did the healing and so did the learning, that I didn't necessarily have to be my mother and father's child. I could be somebody else. And yes, DNA wise, am I their daughter? I am. But I don't have to be who they say I am. And I think we've heard that in an Eminem song, that he's very much of like, I just do what I want. But that's the message moving forward. And going back to the scorpion, they say that the scorpion can't help but be itself. It can't help but sting because it was made to sting. But just because it may believe that about itself, it doesn't need to be technically the scorpion that society and myths have created it to be. It could choose to be something else. Will its physical form change? Probably not. It'd probably still be a scorpion, but it could act differently. It could be differently, and therefore its reality is different. It's no longer the reality that a typical scorpion would be in. So that's the message moving forward. Again, this may not change your life overnight. This may not mean that tomorrow all of a sudden your whole reality is different or you got like $1 million sitting on your nightstand. But it's the understanding that really we are moldable, we are clay, we are made of the earth, and just like the earth can change. You've seen people do topiaries, right? See people create bonsai plants. It can be anything, and we can be anything. It's not just a catchphrase. It's not just something that we just tell little kids that, oh, you can grow up and you can be anything, but really you truly can. And so if in your mind you're like, well, but I'm just like not that smart at math. Well, that's a conditioned belief. It has nothing to do with your intelligence or your IQ. It's just something you believe about yourself, so it's perpetuated. And once that is overcome, the learning and the ability to learn, all of a sudden it's like the floodgates open. Oh, now math is not that hard. I can learn it, because we've changed that belief. So this is all about just changing if you want, because it's all your free will. Just like with my godson being his authentic self, he doesn't have to be anybody that he doesn't have to be who his father says. He doesn't have to be who his mother says or his brothers say or society. He was just like that living example of, you can just be you. And he was changing who he was like all the time. He wasn't always the same kid. He was like, okay, I'm doing this now and I'm dressing like this now and now I'm learning this. And we can learn a lot from that. And I think that's part of his message is in this, that we can be literally who we want to be. If you want to decide that, I'm going to become a wordsmith, but I struggle with words at the moment, then we need to get over that belief that you struggle with words. If you say, I want to have better money flow, okay, then we need to get over the mindset that money is difficult, money is hard to hold on to, and start looking into what are your creative outlets, what are you great at, and understand that you can be great at anything. You might only be aware of a few talents, but it's the difficulties in life that actually reveal our other talents. Um, so yeah, this is about choosing who do you want to be from today, this moment, moving forward. You can be anything. And your intelligence is not a factor. Your IQ is not a factor. None of that is a factor. Your energy is infinite. If you want to decide that you're going to be an artist, and right now you're relegated to stick figures, then we're healing the mindset that I'm not an artist. I'm no good. I only draw stick figures. And when we heal that, we're now open to learning something different. And then we hone that. And now all of a sudden, you're an artist. Okay. Well, that's a nice little message there. Let's see. Wow. Okay. So we have our friends that I'm going to do super chats and super stickers now. So that would be Time Harvest. That would be our friend Lilith, our friend John Gross. Thank you. Thank you. Time Harvest says, how much does YouTube take as a cut? It's like 50 to 60%. They take a lot. Trust me, I'm not going to get rich off of YouTube. Let's see. Silver Star says, exactly. We are so rich in so many ways. Just look outside in the abundance Mother Nature shares with us. Just look around and feel that so much. Yep. Time Harvest says, what? That's too much. 60%, man. Yeah, it's what? Lilith says, yeah, I don't like it. Hence why I sent through PayPal. Thank you so much, my friend. So yes, Time Harvest, Lilith, and John. Excellent. And she's saying, thank you for sending the super chats. And yes, thank you, Lilith, for sending through PayPal. Riley's like, holy cow, it's that much. It's a lot, babe. Time Harvest is the frog and the scorpion story. Ah, no, Tara, I literally tell this story to everybody I meet. Oh my gosh. That is, yeah, I couldn't remember the animal that the scorpion was on the back of the animal, but yes, it's the frog and the scorpion. Interesting. And then Lilith says, I believe so, especially when your stream isn't monetized. Yes. And then, hold on. It's like jumping around. Time Harvest says YouTube should take a max of 5% because 60% is outrageous. Yeah, you'd think so. You'd think that they're already making money hand over fist with the amount of YouTubers that there are, but well, that's a topic for a different day. John says, a flower doesn't bloom all the time. Different people have different times of growth, but also in not a flower, I'm a potato. And Lilith says, okay, so I looked it up. It should be 3070, but it's done in iOS Apple products. It will retain another 30 for Apple. Oh yeah, the whole thing with Apple, that's crazy. Riley's like, you're a potato, I'm a nutty buddy. Yes, you are. Roger says, I'm enjoying this live today. 100. So glad. Like, like I said, we're just chilling. John says, I looked it up and potatoes flower. Yes, they do, actually. I've let potatoes go so bad, not in my house, by the way, but I've let them go so bad, quote unquote, outside that they did flower eventually. And I have seen like potatoes that were in the ground, like becoming a potato. And what the flowers look like is actually really pretty. A potato flower is really, really pretty. John said, yes, a potato, the crunchy, candy, nutty buddy. And John says, I approve, even though you don't need the approval. And Riley said, ice cream cone, nutty buddy. And the Costolini says, I Venmo'd you. YouTube is sleazy taking that much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Costolini. I was wondering why my phone buzzed. Oh, thank you. That's awesome. And Time Harvest says, potatoes are the reason Europeans conquered the world. Well, some of my ancestors were Irish and they wished that the potatoes grew at a certain point, hence the famine. Sea Captain says, "Do you take Venmo?" I do. It's at Terra Space Egipto, Egipto. I had to remember, like, what are my, because no, because there's a Cash App name, and then there's my Venmo name, and I believe it's the at Tara, Tara, hyphen Egipto. So Echo Golf India Papa Tango Oscar. Okay. Okay, so let's go back. Let's start pulling some cards for our friends. So let's start off with our buddy Time Harvests. Okay, okay. Let me use my little skeleton tarot. So the feline, the Lyrans that live rent free in your head, let's get a little message on them. What do these Lyran friends have to say? Okay, just tap it into the energy now. Oh my gosh, I love this song. Get it, Time Harvest. Okay, I guess you guys can't hear what's going on in my head. Days go by and still I think of you. Days go by and I can't live my life without you. Without you. Back in the 90s when like freaking rave was all jam. Days go by. Days go by. Days go by and still I think of you. Okay, I love that song so much. Okay, anyway, that song is playing. Let's now pull a card and see what the Lyrans had to say about that. Yes, Dirty Vegas. Silver Star says, hopefully I got everyone. If I missed anyone, let me know. Awesome. And Costalini said, speaking of games, my question is, why does my game keep crashing? There's got to be an energetic reason, not just a technical reason. Oh, yes, there's always layers of reasons. Okay, so let's take a look at these Lyrans, though. Why are they playing that Dirty Vegas song? Now it's just playing in my head. I hope I can hear everybody else's music because I got an earworm now. Thanks, Time Harvest. Okay. Ooh, we got the Three of Cups. Okay, okay. All right. So well, I guess the Lyrans are really just like days go by because they're always thinking of you because you are part of them. So the Lyrans are saying that in the very, 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 very near future, on this particular timeline, because remember we got an infinite number of timelines, but if nothing else changes in this timeline, it may feel as though almost like there's a lack of abundance, like even more so, like, oh my gosh, I had to pay for this, and now and then this broke, and it's like, oh, like what is going on? And the Lyrans are like, that's not a punishment, by the way. It's a signal to you that you are now, think of like a glacier, and then this like piece of ice just it just like detached, and now it's like off on its own. But in order for that like crack off and like detachment to happen, you're going to be released from certain systems. So this is to aid with like your soul's growth and your evolution. And this is not to say you're evolving into like poverty. So that's not it at all. It's very temporary. So just know that too. Just like anything in life, everything's temporary. Even our lives are temporary. But this oh my gosh, like I feel like this abundance, and it's not so much money. I don't really feel like it's money abundance, but more like, oh my gosh, I feel like there's like it's lack, or not lack, but things are being taken away. And it says, and it's taking away, they're aiding you, because they're not doing it, but they're aiding you in taking away the things that have been weighing you down that no longer serve you. So on the outside, it may seem like, like what is happening? It's like, I'm being punished for something, but it says it's not that at all. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's a growth and abundance that's coming, but it needs to be a release of certain things that are weighing you down. So that piece of ice can like crack off and like, go join somewhere else, or who knows, it becomes its own little glacier island. But yeah, I am seeing that even though in the very, 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 very near future on this particular timeline, it may seem like the world has gone tits up in your personal world, and it's like, what the heck is happening? But it's for your benefit. And eventually what comes from that is the opposite. It's abundance. Even though it feels like a lack of abundance, it's getting you there. So I hope that makes sense. Riley says, because computers are black magic. And Lilith says, no, Time Harvest is hijacking the jukebox. I know, right? So Time Harvest, hope that makes sense. Thank you. Thank you. Lilith's like, hold on to your bootstraps. All right. So Lilith, let me know what your question is. I'll scroll back and see if you had asked a question, but I don't think you did. But yeah, so let me know your question. And let's see. Heather wrote down, everybody said it was Time Harvest. I think Lilith was before, yeah, John. So we'll go Lilith next. Excuse me. And then our buddy John, and then John again. Okay, so yeah, back to back John. John, and now other John. The other me. So yeah, just let me know. General guidance. Alrighty. And Time Harvest says, I felt like that was the message they wanted to tell me. Thank you. I could almost feel it in my head. They did want to tell me something about this earthly experience. All right. So yeah, hey, whatever's coming your way, sending you all the love and strength you're going to need to get through that, because on the other side is some pretty awesome stuff. So, okay, Lilith, hopefully the Lyrians have not absconded with our spiritual jukebox. So let's see what else we got going on. What could be okay? We gotta turn the dirty Vegas off, because we gotta turn Lily's music, or Lilith's music, on. Okay. Oh hell yeah! Okay, Lilith. Take me down to the very last city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Won't you please take me home? Ding, ding, ding. Oh, take me down to the very last city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Oh, won't you please, oh, won't you please, oh, won't you please take me home? Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. Hell yeah. I love me some Guns N' Roses. So thank you, Lilith, for playing that on the spiritual jukebox. Let's see, Silver Stars. Yeah, I wasn't sure who did what there first. Hey, no worries, but thank you. You got all the people there, which is kind of what I need. So thank you. Lilith saying, that's hilarious. It used to be the song for my alarm when I was a teen. That's freaking awesome. Oh, hey. And then Andrea54 Hector says, I joined your Patreon. Woo woo. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, my friend. Okay, so I'm pulling a card for our friend Lilith right now, who was trying to get around the crookedness of YouTube, and she did a donation through PayPal. And on the spiritual jukebox in the ethers, she was playing Guns N' Roses. So let's see what that means. Ooh, we have the Nine of Cups. What a beautiful card. Okay, okay, okay. So your higher self is like, well, first about it, think about the song. Um, Take me down to the very last city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Basically, somebody's ideal, like, paradise, hence Paradise City, right? Paraíso. So, if you take a moment, try to stand outside yourself. Now it's like I'm looking at Lilith, kind of actually the way I see you. You know, since you're outside of me, I would see you as like this energy over here. So try to see yourself as if you're just somebody looking at Lilith, and you're looking at Lilith's life and the city that she lives in, the things she thinks about herself, the life that she leads, the things that she has in her home, the things that bring her joy, some of the things that kind of irk her. Think of all of that. And as an outsider, without the connection to who you are, how many people are lusting for that life? You know, there are some people that are looking at aspects of your life and going, oh my gosh, like, I wish I lived there. That, and you might be like, trust me, they don't want to live here. No, but there are people who do. That's just from our perspective. Some people have a completely different perspective, and they're like, where you live is pretty bomb. That room that you have, pretty freaking sick. You know, that's cool. What you get to do for a living, the way you get to live your life, the way you get to make your choices, the way you get to just be who you choose to be at any given moment, the way the sky looks above your head, the way the stars look at night, like, all of those things. There are people outside of you, outside of your perspective right now, that are looking at you and they're saying, I want that. That's the life I want to lead. Like, that's amazing. And anytime you're starting to feel like, man, I wish I wanted like freaking Mr. Burns' life on The Simpsons. Like, I wish I was like Mr. Burns rich. I lived in a mansion, but think about how where you are right now is somebody's dream. And actually, where you are right now was your dream at some point. At some point, you wanted freedom away from your parents. At some point, you wanted to have your own car. At some point, you wanted to be able to make your own food choices. At some point, you wanted to be able to style your hair the way you wanted to. At some point, you wanted to be able to learn something, and now that something is sitting in your house because you did indeed learn it. So that past version of you, probably the kid that was waking up to Guns N' Roses on their on their alarm clock, um, is wishing for the person that you already are now. And so even though the person you are now is wishing for a future version of yourself, just know that you already have arrived. There's a teenage you, a little kid you, that's like, man, I can't wait to be her someday. And they think that she's some far off person, like that she doesn't exist, but she does, because you exist. You are that person, that little kid. That's you looking at you right now. So, and remember that technically outside this realm, time doesn't exist. So all those past versions of you, all those, the little kid, the teenager, the preteen, all of her still exists. and she's still wishing for the life that you have right now. And yes, there are things that we want to better our lives, and that's okay. We're human. We want to better our lives. We want, to grow. That's understandable. But to feel rotten because I'm not that person's life, well, maybe there's something that we can sit and think about why we would want that, but also just to sit and think about that little girl. She is so stoked about this girl right now. So, um, Lilith's like, damn, this is tear jerking. Oh, I don't mean to give you a tear jerker. Um, but yeah, I'm hoping all that makes sense. So yeah, just think about it that way. So again, it's okay to want things. It's okay to want to change things about yourself. It's okay to want to, like, if you live in an apartment, one day I want to own a house. All that is cool. But to feel like everything is unfulfilled in this present moment, like I'm not happy because I'm not over there yet. Excuse me. Um, that's what keeps us kind of in a stuck energy. And the way we free up that energy is when we get reminded that we are the dream that our younger version had, the younger us had. And I think about that from time to time, like, back when I was, like, let's say 12 years old. What would 12-year-old me, if 12-year-old me ran into me on the street? I'd be like, oh my God, her shirts are so cool. She gets to drive a Jeep. I want a Jeep when I grow up someday. You know, I think that little me would freaking trip out. I think little me would be proud of me now. And sure, do I have room for growth and improvement? Of course I do. Of course there are things that I want to grow and I want to get in my life, but I'm pretty happy with what I have right now while I'm working to achieve those other things, and trying to just think about, like, what would little Tara say? um Lila says, that was wholesome. Thank you. You are very, very welcome. Time Harvest says, there's kids walking alone making millions who were born in 2010. Well, that's their life path. And just because some people are making millions doesn't necessarily mean they're happy. I've known millionaires in my life, and they were not very happy. In fact, they wanted what I had, and what I had was way less money. But they want not, it wasn't the money that they wanted. It was an energy that they were trying to buy, and they just couldn't buy it because it's an energy. It's not money. So just something to think about. You can't buy energy. You can't buy a feeling. You can buy a temporary feeling, but it doesn't last. So it's not really a genuine feeling. Okay, let's go to our buddy John, who actually had a couple of back-to-back readings. And we also had our friend Costolini as well. Let me just see where Costolini was at. Do, 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 do. I know Costolini was in there. Hold on. Yes, there it is. Okay, so yeah, okay, so it's a couple for our friend John, and then we have our friend Costolini, and I could see his question right there. But yeah, John, just let me know what you would like me to look into. Let's see. Lilith says, bro, I've been collecting some haters. Oh no. And Time Harvest says, Lilith, so many good songs came out before we were born, like that one 4000 BC that goes like ira 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 ra. Nice. And Silver Star says 1987 is when that song came out. Oh, interesting. And Melissa says, I didn't realize it until I realized for reals. Time Harvest. Lilith's like, that's before my time, Silver Star. Um, Superstar says, I think I was 6. In 1987, I was also 6. Yes. John says, I think I just got a ping from Nina, a friend in India, lighting up my head with confirmation on the specific reading. Ooh, all right. Hey, thanks for the love, Roger. Um, and then John says, it's appreciating the gift of the present. That's why they call it a present. It's a gift. um, Lily says, yeah, money isn't all that. I chase joy. Yeah, I like that. Chasing joy. And John says, I'm at work, not as open as I'd like for her energy, though. Oh, okay. And Time Harvest says, Kurt Cobain is a good example. Money and fame can be bad. Yeah, what started off as something that he just loved to do kind of turned into something twisted, I suppose. And Time Harvest says, I feel a weird connection with that guy. I don't know what it is. Me too. But after I channeled him, it's like it was okay. You know, the energy between us again. So interesting. Costalini says that 50% goes to sorting the stickers. Yes. John says, I just want one reading. Okay. Well, alrighty. Would you like it to be general or it was you were talking about your friend Nina in India? It could be that or wait, no. We also have oh, Nina. Oh my gosh, it took me a while there. Like I said, my brain's a little bit of a fog right now. Roger says in 87, I was 10. And a spectator. John says, it's Nina, right? I remember you channeling a friend from India. Yes, yes. So I would be happy to channel her if you would like to pull a card, message that she may have. And Silver Star says, John and Costalini. And Time Harvest says, when I say weird, I mean like very connected to him, like similar, like brother. Yes, yes, yes. Well, that's what I meant by weird too. John said, anyway, it's a wild boar in my energy right now, like a wild pig. Ah, okay. Um, oh, -10. I see, Roger. So 1987, I was -10. Nice. I was like 10. Whoa, okay. But yeah, -10. Okay. So let's take a look at what Nina is saying. And yes, Nina is, by the way, she's like not in the 3D realm anymore. She's kind of like ascended already. But I would like to, yeah, tap into her, see if she can help me with this message and talking about that wild boar that's in your energy right now. It says it doesn't involve Nina as she came through for the last reading. Well, you know, I mean, since you said her name, it's kind of like, you know, as soon as it's like that energy comes in. But let's take a look at the wild boar and the energy. See what that means. Silverstar's like, you all crack me up. Okay. Let's tap into John's music. What are you playing, bro? What's your soul got on the record? Got on the turntable right now. Put the needle on the record. Grooves in high, grooves in high, grooves in high. Do, do, grooves in high, grooves in high. All right. Oh my goodness. Haven't heard that also in a hot minute, you guys have some fun songs playing. Now I have the music video playing too. All right, John. Okay, what does this have to say about the wild boar, though? Silver stars, whenever I see a boar, it's the rite of passage. Ooh, Time Harvest thinks that could be him. Wow. Oh, okay. Got our card here. The Ace of Pentacles. Well, that's definitely a boar-like card. For me, boar's energy is very like connected to the earth. It's very like moving forward, not stopping, don't care, no F's given. Like that is boar. So now I'm just trying to connect it to your spiritual record that you had playing. Um, and I believe that song is by D Light. I think D Light is the group or the person. And then we got the Ace of Pentacles. So let's put it all together. Okay, so maybe that's why I was seeing the music video. So even though I was hearing the music, I was also like seeing the music video play, and you got like this person all in like these groovy colors, and they're like all like whatever dancing around. And it's like so like twisted and like all over. It's almost like an acid trip, that freaking music video. Um, but Boar is kind of like the opposite of the energy that I see in that music video. And so what Bora is trying to say is that that's kind of like the energy that surrounds you. It's like, hey, we're going up and we're going down. And then this person feels this way. And then I kind of like get sucked into their like emotional playground that they got going on. And then, I want to make this person feel better. And then sometimes I feel bad when I can't help somebody. And I feel like, or sometimes it's like, the person kind of projects their anger onto me because they want me to be angry too. And although you're very aware when this stuff happens sometimes, and you're very good at really grounding your energy and bringing yourself, it's sometimes you get swept up, especially, and your higher self is saying, just like me personally, I'm tired right now, I haven't slept well, but saying like when you are physically drained and you're energetically drained, that it's a lot harder for you to put up those boundaries sometimes. So just to reiterate that, taking time to re-energize yourself is really, really important, because we're coming into a time in September, like not just the first week, but like the whole month of September, maybe even moving forward, where like stuff is, even though technically here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's like the seasons are winding down to get ready for the stillness of winter. We've got to go through autumn and all of that. But energetically speaking, with humanity is ready to like ramp stuff up. And so it's almost like that song playing, just like all kinds of color and everything all over the place, and things could be so distracting and already so draining because your body naturally wants to go into the seasonal cycle. So your body's like ready for autumn, so it's trying to slow down, it's trying to chillax, and so it could be very easily swept up by this energy, unless you really, really, even more so than you have before, make it a point to ground yourself, recharge your batteries, whether you physically need more sleep or you need to take time away from people for a while, or you need to go into the forest and play some forest music. I don't know, but whatever you do to recharge your batteries, you might also need more time to do this. And this is Boar's message, is like really, really grounding. It's going to be so important so that you don't get swept up, so that clarity because clarity is what you're going to need. And Boar is reminding me like how my brain is all foggy right now because I've not gotten much sleep, and it's making it hard for me to remember things, even names of songs, and saying how just a little bit of drainage in that respect, if it can affect a person that way, not just in the physical like trying to remember stuff sense, but think about what's happening in the energetic sense. That when things really start to ramp up, how much harder it's going to be for you not only to focus in your day-to-day life and what you have to do for work and what you have to do in your life, but just that clarity of like, what do I do moving forward spiritually, and all of that. So Boar's like, you want clarity? Really, 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 really practice the boundaries, the grounding, the recharging now. And he's not trying to scare you at all. He's just saying that this is good practice at any time. But I'm just giving you a heads up that it's going to get a little extra. So you're going to need to take a little extra time for you. Okay. Hope that makes sense. John says, I was getting those images too. I've been feeling like I'm coming into a place where I'll need stamina, that taking care of myself is essential. But it also feels like physical strength is important to maintain spiritual energy. Yeah, I was getting the physical and the energetic body, so that's why I was saying either you're going to need more sleep, but you're also probably going to need like more like energetic recharging too, not just that. So all right. Well, that sounds interesting. Okay. Well, maybe that's a message for all of us too. um, uh, you know, and I think that's also Boris, like, everything just kind of lines up for a reason. So there's a reason why for this live chat, and that question kind of lined up with how I'm physically feeling so that I would have the experience to be able to relay that to you. And it would be harder to relay that message to you if I was coming from a place of like well rested and perky, and that I might interpret it differently. So interesting, very interesting. John, you are very, very welcome. All right. Let's see. We had our friend Costalini. Let me go back here. Okay. Okay, so his question is, why does his game keep crashing? There's got to be an energetic reason, but not just a technical reason. Yes, yes, very true, very true. There are layers to everything. Even though there could be a 3D explanation why the game keeps crashing, there's also an energetic reason, because as above, yes, above. As above, so below. Okay. First of all, let's see what you got playing inside your spiritualness, in your spirit right now. Costalini, what are you playing? What are you playing right now? Let's see. Is that J-Lo? If you had my love and I gave you all my trust, would you comfort me and call me baby? If you want my love, and you got to have it all. And first thing, I won't take you cheating on me. Oh my gosh, that song also, haven't heard that in a very long time. Gosh, what is that? Like 2000s 25-year-old song. Jennifer Lopez. It's got to be, yeah. Since I want you, take it back on you, live for eternity. So, to which you call? Oh, so, not in a hurry, not in a hurry. Ask for you, make it one for me, for eternity. They want my life. Oh, Costalini says, literally, you two crashed while you read that. That synchronicity. Holy cow. If you want my love and I gave you all my trust, would you comfort me? Lilith says, well, JLo seems to be crashing hard too, so I'm wondering what will come of it. Holy cow, that's interesting. JLo crashing connected to the reading about games crashing. Well, let's pull a card. What? Actually, ooh, Queen of Pentacles. Okay. All right. Um, so, okay. Costalini, I hope you can follow me in my sleep deprived brain. Okay. What was coming through was imagine that the game is a potential partner. And I believe, if memory serves me correctly, that in past readings, there was some themes of control coming up. And what do we do with games and video games and board games? The point is to try to control the game. I want to control the outcome. I want to control what happens. So I find the ins and outs. I find the tricks. I find, whatever freaking back buttons, whatever, some secret tricks to get through this either card game, board game, video games, because we want to be able to win. And the only way to win is to control our opponent and to control the board or to control the cards, to control, the video game itself. And so when it comes to JLo's song, if you had my love and I gave you all my trust, don't, well, I don't want to say don't because that would mean that I'm trying to tell you what to do. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. Love has been represented like the romantic kind. Romantic love has been represented as a game in movies, in songs, that it's this like my chess piece goes here, your queen goes there, then my king goes here, then your pawn goes here, and then my rook goes here, and I'm playing this game, and the point is to control the board in such a way that I win you, I get you. And even though consciously that's not your MO, you're like, well, I'm not trying to win anybody. I'm not, but you are trying to control the outcomes sometimes. Like let's say you're really into somebody. I want to get that somebody to like me back. So I'm going to maybe control how I dress, how I talk, how I hang out around this person, what I say, because I want to control their perception of me. And thus it becomes a game. So when you recognize this and you recognize it's not a game at all, it's just energy. Um, Hence why you were looking for the energetic explanation instead of the 3D technical explanation, because we can talk about love in a technical sense, but there's more to it. It's energy. So it's when my energy is aligned with this person, we have no choice but to come in contact with each other. And if things work out, great, but there's no way I can control that outcome. There is no control at all, actually. We'd like to think that we control things, but we don't. So, when you work on that in the romantic love sense, that I'm just, coming into alignment, and that's cool. If I'm not aligned with anybody at this time, that's cool too. I'm happy whether or not I'm aligned with anybody at the moment. But if I do happen to align with somebody, that's wonderful. What a wonderful happenstance. And thus, again, relinquishing control. And so that's all the game is trying to tell you at the moment. So once that lesson is learned, I guarantee your game is going to be fine. It's going to stop crashing. Okay. Um, let's see. Time Harvest says Terra is crashing the entire YouTube. In reality, there's 100,000 views interdimensionally. I know, right? Lilith says, bro, that kind of represents JLo's life lately, though. She's holding on too tight, trying to control it all. She will probably end up losing it all. Um, and Costolini says, the video game crashing is all about the girl. Playing the game is usually how I stop thinking about her. This is hilarious as AF. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Wow. Talk about freaking synchronicity, right? Sorry. Um, so when you want to stop thinking about her, you'd rather control this game. So, wow. Um, so I guess it's just showing you that when you try to distract yourself, because you're like, okay, well, I don't want to control this girl, so I got to put that energy somewhere. So I'm going to go controlling this game, and it's like, whoa, why do we have to have control at all? Like what? So this is not to say that you should just be like, remote control, win the game for me. Oh, and like, okay, no, obviously we still play video games. We play video games, but it's just trying to teach you something right now. So if that energy of control is surrounding her, even though it mean you're not like trying to like, I'm going to control you, girl. Um, if that energy is there in any way and you're trying to distract yourself from it, you're putting that same energy into the video game because you're just placing it elsewhere. So let's try to transmute that energy so that we're not putting it somewhere. It's like, I'm not trying to like distract myself with this or that, because that energy has got to go somewhere. So we might as well transmute that energy instead of just like put it out into something else. But you're very, very welcome. And Lilith says, the game says no. Wow. Wow. Wow, that's fascinating. Oh my gosh. Okay. Costolini says, what an amazing read. Yeah, I gotta think about that too. Cause now I'm trying to digest that for me in my personal life. I'm like, whoa, like that gets me thinking about all types of energy, not just like the energy of control, but like oh, okay. So because there has been some drama that's been happening surrounding stuff. So like let's say we're in the energy of I'm very I'm very frustrated with this person, like but I don't want to take it out on this person. I'm not trying to fight this person. So instead I'm like, I'm gonna go take it out in the gym. I've done nothing with the energy but place it onto something else. So yeah, that's interesting. So like how then am I like changing my reality because I'm just basically distracting myself? Like sometimes when I feel like I'm frustrated or like I think I'm thinking about something too much and then I place my energy elsewhere, like how is that actually affecting my reality? Oh my gosh, you guys have the most freaking amazing questions. You guys are all awesome. John, Costolini, Lilith, Time Harvest. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, homies. I kind of want to go into our oh wait, did was there one more person? I know that Sea Captain was asking if I had Venmo, um, but I don't know if that went through. Because if it did, then I would like to pull her a card. Um, but I'm not sure. So, Sea Captain, let me know if you did that. It's hard for me to check my phone because I'm literally using my phone for the live chat. But yeah, let me know if you did, and then I will pull you a card. So I haven't forgot about you. Forgotten about you, my friend. I can't even speak English anymore. I need to recharge my batteries. um, Let's see. Silver Star says, one thing I learned, I only control myself. Why am I avoiding my feelings and projecting my feelings onto stuff? Really, I'm judging in that situation. Most likely that person doesn't see it that way. Interesting. And Costalini says, I thought it would be such a simple question, but nope, that goes deep. Is anything really simple in this life? I mean, even simple syrup is not that simple. um, and Time Harvest says, damn, you mentioned me, Tara. That was so sweet. Well, of course, I'm appreciative of all of you guys. And Lilith says, so I went back and listened to the channeling you did of the Anasazi, but it's not the one I remembered of someone witnessing a timeline split. I have a vague recollection of it being the Egyptian one. Well, I did one of ancient Egypt. Um, oh, there was one. Where I think it was the name of the channeling literally was called the Two World Split, and it was actually Queen Nefertiti that came through to talk about the current two world split in our time, and she was talking about how it happened back in ancient Egypt, how it happened back in Rome, how it happened like in all these different times that there were two world splits, and it ended up in these like giant shifts in history, and that we're in this like current shift right now of a timeline split. So yeah, thank you for jogging my memory. My memory isn't mush. My memory's not mush. But yeah, go to Two World Split. And yeah, and it was Queen Nefertiti, hence why you were thinking Egypt, because yeah, she was talking about Egypt, but she was also talking about the current timeline. So she's like, yes, that must be it. Yes, yes, yeah, two world split. Um, and could it have been Nefertiti? Yes, yes, it was. Time Harvest bringing in the Andromedan numbers of 344, 374. Keeping those numbers in mind, let's pull a card to see how I would like to direct our channeled guided meditation. And then let's call it a Sunday. And then I will go and back downstairs and mingle with the family. They probably think I've like up and disappeared. I don't know. Lilith, you're very welcome. Okay, so 344374, 344374. Actually, you know what? Let me add those numbers. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 21, 22, 23, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 22, 23, 24, 25. 25 to 5 is 7. 7 means death and rebirth in Mayan numerology. It's the death card. I mean, in tarot, it's 13, but for Mayans, it's 7. 7 is death and rebirth, it's transformation. Oh, is that what that number could mean? Hmm. Lilith's like, this reading's been living rent free in my memory for months. No, I really like that channeling. I thought that what Nefertiti had brought forth was interesting. And I would love to channel her again someday because her energy was freaking awesome. Okay. Nature spirits. Okay. Let's do that. All right. All right. Shoot. I don't want to have you guys stare at me for the meditation. That's distracting and weird. So let me move out of the way. And you know what? That's kind of peaceful. Just a bed to sleep on, like a meditation. Okay. Let me get behind the camera. All right, you guys, go ahead and find yourselves a nice, comfortable position, a place you'll be undisturbed for the next several minutes. You could be laying on your bed, sitting in a chair, perhaps seated on the floor on a cushion, or lying underneath your favorite tree. And as you start to settle in, moving your legs, your arms, your back, your sit bones, Just finding something that feels comfortable. We start to bring our awareness to our breath, feeling the rise and fall of our chest. Just feeling a little bit of peace in this moment. And as you focus on your breathing, focus on the inhales. And with the inhale, feeling expansion of the ribs, the tummy, feeling that expansion move all throughout our limbs and our toes, helping us to feel strong and grounded here in the present. And then we exhale. And with every exhale, feeling the muscles begin to soften around the temples, around the jaw, back of the neck. Continue to breathe. Inhaling, feeling grounded, feeling strong. Exhaling as you feel the tightness in your chest begin to alleviate, the shoulders falling away from the ears, the arms becoming heavy with the rhythm of your breathing. Feeling our torso begin to slacken, our hands becoming limp, our fingers in repose. Feeling the tension in our hips and our thighs just melt away, wash away like the rain. Feeling relaxed all the way down to your calf muscles, perhaps even feeling the feet move apart as everything comes into a heaviness, a groundedness, a peacefulness. Continue breathing. And here you may want to visualize beautiful forest. And perhaps you may not see the forest, but you can smell the forest. The damp, dark soil of the forest floor. Smelling the different types of plants and flowers. Perhaps even hearing a bee buzz past your head. Hearing the birds and their multitude of songs up in the trees. Continuing to breathe in this moment. Perhaps you're seated in the soil and feeling the coolness and the dampness against the back of your pants or your shorts, against your legs. Probably even noticing a little tree squirrel running up the trunk of a tree. Hearing the various sounds of animals that populate that forest. Perhaps you hear the bugle of an elk. Maybe you hear the mooing of a cow. Maybe you hear the loud chirps of the blue jay or the caws of the raven. Perhaps you feel the wings of a butterfly caress your cheek as it flies by. And in this moment, feeling absolutely at peace. Everything is as it should be. In this space, everything is perfect. You are perfect. Your life as perfect as it could be at this moment. Feeling so much gratitude for the people that love you, surround you, for the people that you will never know, but they love you, for the people who look up to you, the children that smile at you as they pass by, the animals that run up to you, dogs and cats, perhaps the deer that stops to notice you, all perfect and beautiful and wonderful. Feeling gratitude and thankful that you have a body that could visualize these things, whether through scent or sound or sight, through touch, that you could come to a beautiful place like this that you created, that your body, the dexterity of your fingers, can create so much magic. Whether you're able to put together the parts of a car to bring something to life, or perhaps you can take seemingly opposing ingredients and create a delicious meal. Perhaps you can take herbs and make yourself a delicious brew. Perhaps you marvel at the fact that we can walk on 2 feet, one foot right in front of the other, and that some of us not only walk on our feet, but that we can spin, we can twirl, we can jump. Or perhaps it's your arms. Your arms help you to lift things, help to lift your grandchildren, help to lift a baby bird off the ground. There's so much abundance and beauty within you and outside of yourself. Here in this cozy space. And although we do have hopes, we have dreams, we have goals, in this moment, all we wish is to be right here. Spend as much time in this forest as you wish, listening to the animals, listening to the birds, perhaps the wind rustling through the trees, perhaps feeling the soil beneath you. But when you are ready, go ahead and bring your awareness back into your body, wiggling your fingers and toes. And when you are ready, go ahead and have yourself a little stretch. All righty. I'm back. So thank you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that guided meditation out in the forest. Time Harvest is the number, is the dial-up phone number of that specific Andromedan race. That's how we dial them. But if you have other numerology meaning to them, I don't know. It could be both. It could be how you dial them, but also the meaning behind it, another layer, is that it's transformation. And that's exactly what the Andromedans are going through right now, is transformation. So I thought that was interesting. John says, I'm driving. So much love to you all. Oh, yes, please do not meditate while you're driving. Lots of love to you, John. Lilith says, drive safe. Thank you guys all for joining me. I know that it's, it was just a little chill live chat. I would like to have more of these chill live chats, especially as it begins to cool down even more in the mountains. Hopefully it does cool down here for my friends down here in the valley, but because it's like 100 something today. whew, it is not that in the mountains. But as it cools down, when maybe we could do some nighttime live chats. What do you guys think? Not like every Sunday, but like once in a while, do like a live chat at night. Maybe we could have a bonfire going because, as the weather starts getting a little cooler up here, maybe out underneath the stars, we could have a cozy little blanket, maybe some hot cocoa. Oh my gosh. Autumn is my jam. I mean, summer is my jam, but so is autumn. Autumn and summer, both my jams. But yeah, I think I would like to do that. Like when it gets a little cooler, start doing every once in a while some nighttime live chats, and that would help some people that have the time zones that would benefit from me doing it at night. So that would be cool. Yay! So thank you guys for hanging out with me. Let's see. Time Harvest is the vibe today. Very chill. Yep. I dug it. I dug it. Lilith said, thank you so much, Tara. Really enjoyed. Look forward to our weekly hours with you. Thank you. I look forward to hanging out with you guys. And that's why I wanted to hang out with you guys because, it's been, I thought about it. I was like, what, do I do a live chat? Do I not do live chat? Because it's been a lot. But I was like, you know what? I really like hanging out with you guys and I feel really good to, hang out with you guys. So I was like, well, yeah, of course, I'll hang out with my friends. Silver Star says, glad we could be here together today. Truly blessed. Yes. Lilith sending blessings to everyone. Time Harvest says, let's do a night live. Fire. Yes. Oh, fellow pyro. High five. Time Harvest says, maybe some Sasquatch show up. Oh, that would be so cool. And Lilith says, I vote once a month. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Once a month. When it gets cooler. I mean, it's a little too warm right now, maybe to do a bonfire at night, but when it gets cooler, I think once a month, that would be pretty cool. I like that. I like that idea. And Silver Star says, moon milk bone fire. Ooh, nice. Time Harvest says, do it for the next live. We'll see how cool it is. We'll see how cool it is outside. But that does sound like fun. And we're going to channel the Andromedans. So next live. So Time Harvest, if you're here, awesome. Maybe you can help out with that. And I know Roger Over is like really excited about the Andromedans next week. So next week, you guys, next week. Let's see. Time Harvest is twice a month. Make it a double. Better. And John said, I said it before. I drive. I'm parked now. And then Lilith says, we could line it up close to full moons. Ooh, that's a good idea. I like that too. Plus there'd be more light, especially because it'd be a full moon and we're up in the mountains. So especially if it's not a cloudy night, it's really bright out there. Oh my gosh, that would be freaking awesome, chat. Time Harvest says, I'll try to be here. Hopefully my neighbors don't put loud music. Just unplug them. All right, you guys, I will catch you later. Thank you so much to everybody who got a reading from me. Thank you to everybody who hung out. Thank you to my mighty, mighty moderators. And thank you for all of the well wishes and all the good energy that you've sent my way and my friends' way and sent to my godson up in heaven. So I love you guys. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out. Bye.